Rock the Ripple. Rock the Ripple. The Rock the Ripple podcast with Narita McInnes.
Let's do this.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rock the Ripple podcast. I'm your host, Narita McInnes. It is so awesome to be here with you as always. And as always, today is another very exciting day because I am joined by a very special guest all the way from the UK. She is a mother, a teacher, a healer, a remote viewer, a psychic, course creator, and author of 2 books, with her latest book, One Set of Footprints, just released out into the world. She is Find the Light RB on YouTube and has a Patreon site loved by many. There is, of course, so much more to this incredible woman. She is the one and only beautiful inside and out Rebecca Barron. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Oh my God. I'm just going to come on every time so I can hear that again. Thank you. That was such a beautiful intro.
Oh,
Thank you.
You're most welcome. It is so awesome to be connecting with you. I have listened to so many of your videos on YouTube over the years, and just your insights, your journey, and everything that you tap into. And you've had longer videos, shorter videos, and I always love them. And I love how you start them, by the way, because that's how I start every email. Hiya. So I know it's you. It's bloody awesome. But for people who might not know you, aside from the intro, do you want to give a bit of background as to who you are? Who is Rebecca Barron?
Oh, big question. Okay, so who am I? Well, of all the things that you said very kindly, I suppose I started doing YouTube videos a few years ago, quite a few years ago now. And well, first of all, I woke up when I was 27. And before that, I was very much asleep. I wasn't spiritual in any way. The thing was to get a promotion or make more money, or kind of like the goal of life. And then at the age of 27, I had an awakening. So, like, what is an awakening? I got in contact with myself more with myself. And at that time, loads of information started to come through about myself, who I was, and what I was here to learn. And on the outside looking in, my parents thought I was probably going crazy, talking about ETs and how we live forever, and this world is like a hologram, and we're here to learn and grow, so they just thought I went slightly crazy, bless them, but stuck with me. And then after that, because the intensity of the awakening was about 6 weeks, but then after that, I went at a completely different course, and I did a Dolores Cannon. I learned Dolores Cannon techniques where you place somebody under hypnosis and you get in contact with their higher self. So it's another form of their consciousness, like a subconscious that's kind of guiding you through life, and go into past lives and stuff like that. So I learned how to do that and then started practicing. And as I started to practice, I thought, I want this done. I'd love to have this done. But there was many, I didn't trust anybody. I didn't trust to go under hypnosis. So I was like, oh no, that's a bit too scary. And so I learned to do this myself. And then I realized I could access loads of information, lots of information. And then after that, lots of healing took place. And the more I healed myself, and then people started to come for healing. And then I started to document that. And then, remote viewing started to develop, and I started to share my findings on YouTube, and then I help people. So people come for. I'm not really a healer; people heal themselves, but I'm just like a light that people that I can look at their consciousness. I can see the traumas or the perceptions or the beliefs that they're carrying that's holding them back, and help them become aware of it. And the more aware we come of ourselves, the more we can break down what's not good for us. So I help people with that. And then we have like fun remote view sessions that I do on my Patreon site on Find the Light, which are really fun and uplifting, because the world can be a crazy place. So just to get to understand what's really going on. So I'm like a sniffer dog. For people, they go, look at this, and I just go and have a look and see what I can see.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
when you do that. It's so cool. I mean, there's so many videos like when you're talking, I'm just like, which one should I bring up? Which one should I talk about? And I love what you said too, by the way, about you're not a healer, you just shine the light. And I think that is perfect to say that because I think we all heal ourselves, don't we? We all have that
We do.
ability. So I'm so glad you said that. And yeah, I mean, you spoke about early in the days about the watches and things like that,
Mhm.
about this paradigm that we're in, matrix, whatever you want to call it. And I just found that so fascinating, and it was really cool. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Okay. So we have through I've been attacked a lot through technology, people that are not actually human but look human, to ETs, and also discovering those attacks and the remote viewings. What I discovered is that obviously we live on a planet, Earth, and that planet is conscious. And she actually is the center, even though it doesn't look like that, of the universe. So all the planets in this universe is actually within Gaia and it's projected outwardly. And that universe, there's multi-universe. We live in a multi-universe. And next to our universe is a very, very dark universe. There's very little light in it. And I mean light as in feminine consciousness. Now, everything is created from two energies, the masculine consciousness and the female consciousness. Your brain, your left side of your brain is female consciousness. Your right side of the brain is your masculine consciousness. It has nothing to do with the sex of your body. It has to do with who you are. So the female side is who you are, and the right side of your brain decodes who you are. So it reads it. It's the decoder, and that is also Gaia as well. So the energy that flies through the plants and the trees and the planet is female consciousness, and the decoder and the physicality of Earth is the masculine side. Well, so this should be perfect balance. We should be in perfect balance of female and masculine energy, not just within ourselves as a human being, but the planet and the universe. And what I saw is that there's a universe next door that has very little female consciousness. And our female consciousness or female consciousness is our vitality. It's our life force. It's the one that keeps everything alive. Our body dies when the female consciousness leaves. A plant dies when the female consciousness leaves. It's so if you have very little female consciousness, the body starts deteriorating. This is why illnesses come about and mental health issues come about. There's a lack of female consciousness. So what happens is that the masculine has to go into survival, and survival mode generally can also create parasitic energy. You know, people feed off other people to keep themselves alive. So basically, we have another universe that has been feeding off us because they lack female energy. Now they've had to do this very cleverly because they can't just. We did a remote view, and someone asked, even though it was, I don't even know why I haven't been asked this question, but it was about Egypt. And
Mm.
it was so fascinating. So it was like when the Egyptians, the Egyptian gods that you see
Mm.
depicted, and they came down. And before that, Earth was balanced, and she was vibrant and balanced. And then these beings, ETs, came down and claiming they were these gods and that we would service them. And Gaia got very scared because it was an energy that she had never felt before, and people started to lose their Mother Earth. And the fear. So what does fear kind of reduces the female consciousness? And then it was a service to these Egyptian beings. And then obviously it's a remote view, so it's not like a huge amount of detail. But over time, they got overthrown. But it started to slavery was born, because if we didn't service these gods, they would kill us in sacrificing human beings in front of many human beings. So there was slavery that was born. So these Egyptians worked for these people in the other universe, these watchers, and these are like giants. They look, when I see them, they look like us, but they're giants. but they lack female energy. And the only way they've survived is parasiting off other people, other races, including us, or technology.
Mm.
And so what they did is they realized that anything that looked different from the human race would be overthrown. So they needed to place beings in here that looked just like us, that they could overtake.
Mm.
And this is where we get the hybrid humans from. So the royal families around the world, the elites and everything, they're in tune with being taken over by other beings that they created, which is the reptilian beings. Now, these reptilian beings are a creation of our consciousness, human consciousness, and AI. So the Watchers sliced and diced our consciousness with AI, created another being called the reptilians, which have been a pain in the butt for most of my life. And they so when you look at people and you see, oh God, they're human, but when you look deeper, they're either being overtaken. These elite people being overtaken by reptilians, um, and so that's how they've been able to manipulate and control humanity. And then they created, well, these hybrid humans are designed to worship the Watchers. So they worship the Watchers through their satanic rituals. And their satanic rituals, what it does, it brings that universe and our universe closer together. And
Mm.
then they funnel the life force from our reality into their reality. And they live off that. It's like a drug to them. And so it's like they've been merging their universes and our universe together with their satanic rituals. And then we have been placed in basically a matrix system to believe in this. So you may not be satanic, but you could be religious or political, and it all comes from the same thing.
Mm.
If we didn't have this satanic ritual, because what it does, it gets the human race to believe outside of itself. So the hybrid humans, they do believe in a god. They do have a god, a physical god, which is the Watchers.
Mm.
That Watcher, that big being, created them. They wouldn't exist without them. So when they look up to the sky and they pray to their being, that's why many people look up to the sky and look up, oh, God's up there. That's not our God. Our God is actually us. It's within us. But we've been programmed to do the same thing, where life is going to be given to us, because the hybrid humans, the royal families, they have to do these rituals, and then they get downloaded information in those rituals, because they're half AI as well. They've got AI in them. So they get downloaded power and everything through the rituals, and how well they do, they get patted by the Watchers. And so we kind of like also got wrapped up in that, because we're waiting for somebody else to make our life better, not realizing we are the creator of our reality. So it's been a long journey understanding this, and getting myself out of it with beliefs and traumas, and because I was so much in it as a child, that I had to heal enormous amount, years, to get out of it. So, but also on the other side, getting out of it, I learned a huge amount, which should be able to help other people also get out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you explained that so well. And I guess something as well, and I know it's in your new book as well, but a bit about your childhood and how, I mean, some of those things that you had to heal, because I think, when we go through these really tough things, that's the medicine that we need to be able to heal later to be able to share that gift with others. Would you say that as well?
Yeah, I mean, every time we heal, more light comes into our body, more female energy comes into our body. And humans, we follow the light, because we follow truth and understanding. And that's why we're here, to understand oneself, to find the truth of oneself. And yeah, so I suppose it's been, light is the guidance, isn't it? It's the guidance. And it, it's, it, it, well, I suppose that the attacks, because I was kind of trapped into the satanic system,
Mm.
locked in through the frequencies, because I was attacked by satanic energies as a child, and they laid within my mind, within my body, so they could easily access me at any time.
Mm.
Um, and in order to break free from them, I had to heal it, and that would be looking, because we have lots of frequencies in our body, and we have to understand what's me and what's something else. And it was really hard, because you have to look at stuff that's really, really dark, like it's like, and it's so like petrified that, I mean, I was be so petrified. I was like, oh, I'm a dark person. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've
Mm.
done something bad, because that would be the feeling, and then see the memories would come through, and then I'll naturally be able to release what's not mine, and keep what is me.
Mm.
And that made my body feel more safer, so more like come in, so more of my brain to decode more of who I am. But yeah, but I mean, everybody, I suppose, when you're on this journey, would be doing that. That's what everybody's doing. Yeah.
Mm.
It's like we get so, we've got frequencies from our parents, frequencies, and we naturally, we should get to like teenage years, and we'll start going, well, I like that about my mom, and I like that about my dad, but I didn't like this. So
Mm.
you naturally kind of push it away. And this is why it's so valuable to look at self and reflect on self. Looking in the mirror, it's not, it's hard at times, but it's very rewarding.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I often say that it's not always sexy or exciting. It can be tough and so freaking gritty, but it's so worth it, isn't it? It's so worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're over that hump, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I've wanted to give up many, many times.
Mm.
I'm not doing this anymore. Having temper tantrums. I want to leave. This is too hard. But thank didn't, Thank
Mm.
God I've got kids.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Oh, and are they I guess, I mean, the gift of having you as their mother, like, what a gift. I mean, you've been through so much, and you can see, like, have they got those abilities and that innate healing sort of within them as well?
I see it in both of them. I
Mm.
do. But they're just normal kids. They
Yeah.
just find me slightly crazy. Mum, you need to be locked up. And
Yeah.
yeah, they
The
take the mickey
usual.
out of me. Yeah, because it's like, oh, Mum. Mia was talking, my daughter she was listening to a song, and it was about killing your emotions or something. It was something in the song. And I was like, no, your emotions are very important, Mia. And she's like, Mum, for God's sake. Oh, just let me listen to my song.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's so funny. That's
Yeah.
that's something I would do too. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, gosh, there's so much. And like, you were talking before about the work that you learnt from Dolores Cannon. So that's the quantum healing hypnosis technique, isn't it?
Yeah.
QHHT. I know that
Yeah.
that's been such a powerful thing for so many people. And it's like, I guess many different healing modalities open us up to more of who we are, don't they? And they just help us to, I guess, to come back to who we are and look within and start doing that work and all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
Yeah. I saw her on YouTube, and then when I came home back to the UK, she was in Oxford, and it just, the synchronicities all happened at the right time,
Mm.
and it was a really fantastic start to my journey and learning, because what I learned is like, I'm too scared to actually go and see somebody. I'm going to do this myself, and that's what I do now. I teach people how to do it themselves, so they can access. You have to wait for somebody to help you. You can actually access. And um, there's so much to us. There's so much, if you're lost or you're not, it's the higher self, the soul, that your soul is connected to Mother Earth, to the universe. You're literally connected to everything that is.
Mm.
So you can access and learning to do that, because our brains, our mental side has been trained to go outside of ourselves. This way,
Yeah.
try and find the truth on the internet or in the news, or we've had, and that's the slavery that because we've lost through the abuse that's happened through the ETs. We've lost the trust and belief of ourselves. Well, they
Mm.
did. They get us to reverse that, where we believe and trust people outside of ourselves. So we
Mm.
believe and trust the politicians and people in authority. So we don't trust ourselves. And there's a time before all this stuff happened, we didn't have politics or news people telling us what was going on in the world. We knew ourselves because we were so connected to our heart. So our heart just boomed out the information. And that's where we're going back to, where we can trust ourselves. We won't be and fully trusting ourselves. Then we've become our own creator of
Mm,
our reality. We're not victims to our reality. We know why we're creating it, and also start to see our reality as a teacher for us. So
mm,
we're not fearful of reality. You think of if people are looking to politicians or religion or to get the answers that they need, it's a very childlike energy.
mm,
It's like looking up at mum and dad, please help me, what's going to happen? And they do that because we have childlike trauma within us, childlike frequency. So a lot of all the people I see, I do so many people every week. Every week, I must see at least it's like 60 people
wow.
every week.
Yeah.
And it's looking at the trauma that they have as a child, because that child at like frequency needs to feel safe. And also when that safety comes, then it can grow
Mm,
and become more responsible for one's life. And if we'll start, that happening en masse, trusting oneself and believing in oneself, then we love oneself. So it gets projected out everywhere.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm so glad you said that because it comes down to trust. I feel like in all of my talks, almost every single one, we come back to trust. And I love how you put it as well, us loving ourselves. When we trust ourselves and we love ourselves, like we're unstoppable, aren't we? Because we just, well, no, I know what's going on. I'm here. It's fine. And there's so many of us that have got that unhealed trauma from childhood, or just that childlike nature. Like you said, sometimes there's just things that need to be looked at, or we just need to love and give our inner child the love that we never got, and be able to be that mother or parent for our child, for our inner self, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
You think there's like, if you look at the generations and you look at your parents, it was a harder time. There's less
mm,
light in the world,
yeah,
and so the unconscious level and loving oneself. So a parent can only love their child as much as they love themselves.
mm,
They can only see their child as much as they see themselves. And everybody was more blind back then. So the way we've been, they won't be able to see and see that child, and therefore the light can't come in, or the light just dies, because not dies, but it kind of gets suppressed back. You
mm,
don't lose anything.
yeah,
So the more we start to see ourselves, the more light can come through our being.
mm,
So
yeah.
it's nothing's ever lost, and it's nothing's ever lost, and everything is brought back, which is beautiful, because I see like the belief in trust, but what the biggest like trauma is like loss, because it's loss of self, the fear
Mm,
of, and that vibrates everywhere. If you look at the dark, they manipulate that fear. You're
mm,
going to lose your rights, the wars, all these sort of things. It's like this loss, and it takes us into fear because we've lost parts of ourselves. It's suppressed within us, and we have to gain it back. Um, so and you can gain it back just by reflecting on yourself and understanding yourself, and why am I creating this, and what is this showing me? And instead of being fearful of life, being the student of life. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. I just mic drop. I totally resonate with everything that you said. I mean, that's how we heal the world. And it's not like all woo woo and light and fluffy. Like this stuff actually will and does make a difference. I mean, so many people, like you were saying, like it was a darker time back then. And do you feel like just on that, I mean, even though we've got the watches and we've got this stuff that's been happening and going on, and where more of that life is now, light, I should say, is coming to the surface. It's not been away. It's just been suppressed, like you said. Do you
Yeah.
think that um, still people have had roles and they were supposed to be born when they were? Like I believe we chose to come in when we did, and we all have our different purposes and, for want of a better term, mission. Do you feel that all comes into play as well?
Yeah, I mean, from what I can understand, we all choose to be here. We're not
Mm,
victims to life. We come in, I'll say, through the want of our parents.
mm,
So the relationship that we have with our mother is set up way before there's communication back and forward. I saw, I think it was one where um, we generally may have had past lives with our mother and father, and there's connection because outside of this physical reality, the non-energy, we're all one big family. We
mm,
don't see, we don't have the roles, the individuality. We're all one family, but and we all know one that we're all connected. So yeah, we're not victims to this reality. We choose to come in, but there's been a massive consciousness like since the 50s. I mean, Dolores Cannon spoke about this, where waves of consciousness coming in, and to help this universe, Gaia, Mother Earth, to come out of the frequency because it's been so dense and imprisoned. So there's loads of new consciousness coming in, specifically to raise the consciousness up, to break
mm,
out of the mind programming that humanity has been in. And so there's a lot of missions, and but also that's been because people have been going into savior, save people.
mm,
Anybody, it's yourself. People can project that outwardly, but with the changes of Gaia, Mother Earth, this is why all the elite are falling,
mm,
because they can't sit on those frequencies anymore. They find it very difficult because there's so much light, everything's coming to truth. That's why there's so much truth out in the world and has been for many years, because the light of the planet is showing everything up. And that consciousness is then waking people up. But that's just going to continue. And the fall of the elite, of the royals, I mean, it's happening before our eyes. We've been saying it for years, but it's literally happening in front of us. And then what's going to happen is we go back to how we originally was before the invasion came, which is we come here to enjoy life, to evolve, to know oneself. That's the most important thing. To bring family in the world. Family is a really big thing, to raise a family, and to enjoy, to live, because we haven't been living, we've been surviving.
mm,
You think of all the people that come, and it's just been survival. Our brain's been wired in that way to survive. But if you've got all of you in your body, there's no need for your mental mind to survive. So all the survival behaviors, perceptions drop away, and that's what's happening with the healing that's taking place. And then you learn to live. Like, how do I live with, you know, no one's attacking, no one's, all these things. I mean, for me, it's definitely what I've been going through. It's I can live now. I don't need to, be on survival. And then also help other people as well understand what's going on.
mm.
Yeah.
It's such a
But
exciting. Yeah, go.
so
You go. Yeah.
Oh, it's just I suppose the evolution of human consciousness. It's not being displayed on the news, is it?
No.
It's such massive changes that are taking place. I I have lots of people that I talk to on Patreon. They come, and then I teach. And I'm like, the way you see reality is so different to the majority. Loads of people out there, you're going to be the teacher for them, because they're going to be asking lots of questions when this fall really, like, bang bang, which is
Mm,
happening at the minute. But they're going to be like, what the hell's going on? And they're about to make, people can make sense of their reality. um I suppose you don't realize how far we've come. I suppose you speak to lots of people, don't you, and like the different ways of viewing consciousness. You must get such a broad way of viewing things. You learn so much.
yeah. Well, I'm one of those people who've always loved to like just dive down the rabbit hole and look at different things. And then the people that I speak to are so big-hearted, and they understand that there's this raising consciousness, and that, it's so important for us to trust ourselves and to come back to ourselves and look within for the answers and not without. I mean, sure, you can have conversations with people and bounce ideas and all that sort of stuff. That's what us humans crave. We love that stuff. But ultimately, it comes down to us to heal ourselves, to love ourselves, to trust ourselves. That's the stuff that it feels to me like is the most important thing. And I think we're going to see so much more of that coming through. I think it's a really exciting time. And I can imagine in your Patreon, with when you're having your calls, I know some of them are on YouTube as well, and you've got so many amazing recorded videos in Patreon as well. And people just ask any question that they want. And it would
Yeah.
just, you're surrounded by people who are all on the same page. I mean, the questions that you get, do you have any favorites, or just like, I mean, there's so many. I know it would be tricky.
Oh, yeah, so tricky. Favorites. Oh, I did. There was a lovely one that we did yesterday or the day before. I don't, because my memory's shocking. But it was a lovely one. It was a really uplifting one. So there, one of the ladies asked about, I've never read, I mean, that's terrible. I've never read a Dolores Cannon book, which there was a Dolores Cannon and Nostradamus had mentioned that 2030 was like going to be a big year.
Mm,
And could I remote view that? So I was like, okay. So I went in, and I actually went into this year, and I saw obviously more of the fall that's taking place, but then light coming in, and this type of information that that you talk about is going to come main news. It's going to come more in the main news, where people are going to swap from watching what the dark are doing, you know, what they're up to actually the main news would be consciousness and light and healing and the power of a the human race, of Gaia, of Mother Earth. And why are we here, like asking the big questions. And then that's going to continue all next year, and there's going to be by the time I was like remote viewing, and I got to 2030. And obviously it's future stuff, and that nothing's ever set in stone, because
mm,
anything can change. But it was so beautiful. I saw 2030, and I saw everything was balanced. It was the last, like the healing of Gaia, mentally and emotionally. It was all balanced. There's people would stay together in their marriages. It was like a million suns in the sky. There was so much light on the planet. um all the bad food, all the toxins, everything from the skies to the ground, and everything was all cleansed. Gaia cleansed it all. We went back to how we, the main thing was family, and the education. I saw education of children, and it was
mm,
the prime education was oneself, to understand oneself. So what we've coming from is, if you look at how we've been organized, is we've lived very unconsciously of who
mm,
we are. And that has been reflected in society, where we've gone into big corporations, and we're like a little guy, helping a big business, and or we've been unseen. So, but what we're going into is individuality, that
mm,
everybody is important, because everybody, I see like the world is a garden, and everyone's a little flower. But every flower, when it's all balanced and beautiful and in love with itself, it creates this beautiful meadow.
mm,
And there's not one person that's not important in that meadow. And I see, like, obviously there's been a lot of choice, where people either want to go on this ride of evolution, or stay in, the old reality, unconscious, and that choice. So the remote view, it was just really, really beautiful, really uplifting. Like,
mm,
and the thing was, there was no fight. There was no like, oh God, maybe not. It was like, this is gonna happen. This is
mm,
happening. They can't stop. I saw the reptilians just walking away because they're puppets on the ground. It's like, we've lost. We can't. The heart of the planet is too powerful.
mm.
We can't stop it. So
Yeah.
it's like everyone can just relax, even though it looks like the world's going crazy at times. Just turn off the news and just concentrate on your life. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. Oh, that's so, did you say 2030? Because that's like 6
Yeah.
years away.
I
Wow.
know. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Not
mean,
far at all.
there's so much happening with that now anyway, isn't there? It's just that it's not being, like you said, televised, but there's people starting their amazing schools for children, homeschooling in nature, all that sort of stuff. Like there's just so much, isn't there?
Yeah, so much, so
Mm,
much. I homeschool, and yeah, and like if I look at the school, they were my son went into secondary school and it was just terrible. It's like a number. It was awful.
mm,
And I just and obviously I'm just one person, but I also able to see like this is not good for his mental health or anything. And it's like just get them out. So I'm just seeing, and obviously looking at the homeschool thing, it's like people are pulling their kids out left, right, and centre. So it's and obviously that's not being televised. It's like we don't need the government, or the government's doing such a bad job that we're not trusting them with our children. Yeah,
yeah.
which is good.
It is good, isn't it? I mean, I've seen such a shift, and I mean, I've had people on the podcast as well that are literally doing that. They're homeschooling, they're setting up groups, and it's just, or I mean, they're not even setting them up now, like they've been doing it for quite a while, and it's so cool to see because obviously, still, like we're living in a world of duality, and even as things get better, we'll still be here to learn and grow, won't we? It's just we won't have all the heavy shit still there, will we?
Yeah. Well, if you
Technical
look at
term.
yeah. Yeah, we'll have ourselves, but we've been under such abuse, manipulation, deception, all
Mm,
that is going to disappear. It can't survive because the frequencies, the bed of Gaia just can't, it won't survive. People just fall. So that want that, they won't be able to hide anymore. The reason they've been able to do it for so long is because of the unconsciousness of the human race. So it's just being able to, but we'll still have our stuff, you know.
mm,
So it's not like, oh, everything's going to be, but you'll still have your pain or healing to do. But it's going to be so much easier because you're surrounded by so much light, and light is so nurturing and loving and everything. So it will be much, I've seen as like time will go much faster as well.
mm,
So our time is created by the masculine, the mental side, and with the dense energies, time's gone quite slow. But the quicker of the higher vibrations, time will speed up. So, and we'll have instead of we'll learn about who we are, like what we can actually do, which
mm,
is we've been think you think of the reptilians and the watchers and everything, we've just been like to them, we've been like rats, and that's been projected on us, like you're nothing, but
mm,
actually we're everything.
mm,
So to wake up and to realize, oh my God, like I'm everything and also nothing at the same time. I can be anything, I can merge with anything. And I just think like me understanding myself has brought abilities in,
mm,
understanding I can, past lives and connect to the planet we live on. I can look at people's brains. I can see stuff that's going on in their bodies. I can help in that way. You think, and that's because of my path, and that's where I wanted to be. But there's got to be so many abilities out there that people are going to bring forward that's just going to change reality,
mm.
and that's exciting, you know,
Oh,
really exciting.
it's so exciting. And you were talking about time before as well, how it's just, are you noticing now though that time is speeding up? Like I feel like time is on steroids. Like it's just so much faster than it used to be. I'm sure it's not just me getting older, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, time is created by the mental side of us, by the masculine side, and how you experience reality. But the more female energy comes in with it. So, like when you're really, really happy, time, because the
Mm,
experience of time actually changes with perception. So when you're like down and depressed, it's like really slow, isn't it? You're like, oh,
mm,
everything's heavy, you walk heavy, you talk really slow, time slows down. But if you're really, really happy and you're having like an amazing time, it goes really, really fast.
mm,
So, and that's because you've got more female energy running through. So imagine your body is like your car, and you've got more petrol running through your body. So the car can just go really, really fast. So
mm,
your experience is that like, this time's really fast. And so the more female consciousness that comes through, there's more higher energies, more compassion, love, joy, happiness comes through. So that your experience of time speeds up. So I remember when I started talking to people and helping them, I was sort of merged with their field, like figure out what's going on, feel what's going on within them, so I can pick up any imbalances within them. But I'd also I'd enter into their time zone, and it would either go really fast or really slow, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so fascinating, and realize that everybody has their own, how they experience time is very individual to them.
Wow.
So what I see with you, you have very fast brain as
Mm.
well. Think very fast. You act very fast. So you like you're like a million thoughts going on at the same time. So that could also be part of it. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, "Doo-doo-doo, where's it going now?" Oh, so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. But that makes sense as well, and I love that you can step into the field of someone and feel where they're at, and I guess that is something that you teach as part of what you do when you're doing that sort of stuff. And, one of the thoughts that was, squiggling around in my mind, because I don't wanna forget that one, is also the 2 world split. So maybe we can come back to that, but maybe you can talk a bit more about how you, like, because would everyone sees and feels things differently, right? Like some people will see more in their mind and get visuals, and some people will feel more. Or do you feel like it's something that everyone has the ability to do all of it, or it's different for everyone?
Yeah, everyone has the ability, the connect and able to see beyond the physical reality. So
Mm,
what you present, what someone presents, you're able to see beyond the physical, because you've got you. This goes back to the how the brain works. So you've got your two energies, your masculine and your feminine. So your masculine can see, okay, I can see what's going on in reality, but then your heart will actually feel a deeper, or see, go into the future, go into the past, or actually feel you're able to pick up the emotions that are going on. And I've been teaching this for a few 4 or 5 years now, and there's been a few people that I haven't been able to. So out of all that, it's
mm,
everyone can do this,
mm,
but it's basically getting the mind to connect to the heart,
mm,
and so you can start decoding more of yourself and of reality that's going around. So obviously I'm here, my mental mind, I can see you on screen, but my heart can go everywhere.
mm,
Yeah, you can invite me in, and I can, like, oh, okay, I'll decode. You can take me up to your higher self, you can take me up to your past lives, your soul, oh, Becky, have a look at this, have a look at that. But my mind can't go outside of this physical reality. It's here, it has to stay here. But my
mm,
heart can go anywhere, because we're connected to everything. But what my mind does is decode what comes back. So even though I'm sitting here, I'm everywhere. So my mind decodes what comes in, and it goes, Narida's like this, she wants to talk about this. And this is why I could do my work anywhere around the world. Australia is like one of people in Australia. I've got loads of Australians. They come and talk to me. And then Americans. So it seems like Australia and America, I mean, the furthest countries, from me. And it doesn't matter, because
mm,
we're everywhere. It's really odd, because distance is created by the masculine mind. It's like but behind the physical reality, there's no distance.
mm,
All like there.
mm.
It's fascinating. And it's
So
hard to
cool.
explain, but but yeah, everyone can do this. But when I teach people, it's practice. It's practicing.
Mm,
It's like a muscle, I have to keep this practice. And some people may be really visual. Some people may be they feel things more deeply. Um, but it also changes. Like when I do the Q&As and I close my eyes, um, sometimes it's really visual, and other
mm,
times it's just like knowings that come in,
mm.
and it's like, oh, I just know this is just it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just depends how your brain's decoding, and that decodes different from time to time. So you could hear stuff, you can feel stuff, you can just knowings come in. And but the biggest part is learning to trust it. because it's like you can't physically see it. So it's like learning. So it takes a lot of courage to actually say, and that's part of it, like learning to believe in the heart, because we've been very taught to believe in the physical reality so much more than the non-physical, the heart. It's like, no, this is facts. And this is why we've elevated the masculine consciousness, the masculine mind. It's facts and figures and data and everything like that, rather than actually this doesn't feel right, or and this is how we've been very programmed as well, because we're like, oh, we've got to, by the religious thing, what religion done is get us to avoid ourselves, to not ignore all our emotions. No, life, your heart, everyone's heart is about to teach you about what life is about, why you're here. It's your guidance. It brings in all your lessons. It teaches you how incredible you are. And the religion came in, and you may not be religious, but that programming has gone back generations and generations and gone into our mental minds, and that gets passed on by our parents, and we pass it on to our kids, and so the religion came in. It's like, you have to believe this. It's a mental belief. You have to believe this. If you don't believe this, your life's in danger. So it's like, and what do they do now? If you don't believe in a certain thing, then you lose your jobs, or you get cancelled, or you get, it's the same thing. Well, that's happened on mass. It's caused a massive trauma. So we kind of like, oh, I'll forget. I won't believe in myself. I won't trust myself, because if I do that, then it goes against the establishment, and my livelihood, or my life, or my lifestyle's in danger. And that's what we're coming out of. So religion has played a massive part in our disconnection to ourselves. So when I teach people, it's actually connecting back up, that actually your emotions are so important. They teach you about yourself. They also can teach you about, the reason I being able to remote view so much is because my heart does go everywhere. Like, if people realize the importance of their emotions, it will lead them to understanding of everything. Like, you can access anything, and that's incredible, isn't it? It's like, and why it's been so dampened down. It's been such a big threat. If we have access to this, then the elite are like, God, we can't teach them how we want them to see reality anymore. They're seeing reality how they want to see it. And so that's why it's been a massive threat. The heart, the feminine, has been a massive threat. Humanity has been a massive threat. So, yeah. Sorry, I go ramble.
I love it. I love it. Like, I'll just be like, yes, lapping it up. Well, that's the thing. And our heart is number one, isn't it? It's connecting back to that. Like, that is the key. Like, heart is the is it anagram of earth? Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
yeah. And it's just like that, to me, is just massive. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So it's getting the mind to focus on oneself.
Mm.
And that is difficult, because we've been learnt to focus on everybody else, like the
Yes.
slavery that's been born. It's like we put our energy into work, or all our energy into work, or the kids, or the partners, or, and so we put all our energy out to other people and not actually look at self. So it's like it's getting the mind to go, actually, you are important. I'm important, how I feel is important, and what's coming through is important.
Yeah. I think
So
that's huge. Yeah. Keep going.
it's huge, because that's what we've lost, the importance of self, and that's what's coming back. We are important. One's own story is important. You're important. I'm important. And we all, I see everybody as like a jigsaw puzzle, and we have this jigsaw puzzle, and we present it, and then it creates a real reality. But everyone doesn't know who they are, or lots of people don't know who they are, or, don't know the true self, or they're carrying stuff. So they it's like learning about themselves. And once people start to learn about themselves, and the trueness can come through, authenticity arises. Which is the complete opposite of what we've been living in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, we're all unique pieces of the puzzle that we're, trying to fit back into. But that's the thing. Like, everything you say, I'm so resonating with, because it just, like, It's the heart. It's we've all got those bits, and it's so true that when we come back to us, when we love ourselves, when we like that's standing in your power, and that's giving yourself a massive gift as well. But not and when you give yourself that gift of love and trust and all that sort of stuff, like it ripples out like crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. It's like what I've seen over the years, and for me as well, personal experience, if I give my love to people outside of myself, then hoping I'll get the love back.
mm,
Yeah. But actually it's loving yourself. And then everybody who's connected to your heart, you also automatically they feel that as well, because everybody is connected. So when I look at people, I could see the people that really, you have people that are really close, like you've got kids and partners and everything, but we're all connected through the heart consciousness.
mm,
So actually, your life is for you. It's not to service other people. We can
mm,
support, and you may need support. We need support and along the way, but it's not to give your life over to others. And that's been the programming. We give our life to you know, the churches, and we live for them, or we live for belief structures that we have. Even the spiritual community is
mm,
not, we live, or we have to do A, B, C, and D. I mean, it's just crazy,
mm,
you have to live this certain way to, it's your life is individual, and that's where we're going, so how you live your life is individual to you. So yeah, it is the rise of individuality, and
mm.
not like this is how you live your life,
Yeah.
and everyone should else do the same.
Yeah.
um, it's and you see it with um, oh god, it's like people ask, what do you eat, or how do you live your life, or the careers and everything like that, and it's like it's finding yourself in it. It's like who um I've gone off path now. My
No,
mind's gone
loving it.
boggled.
No, no. Is your brain doing the same as what mine does?
Yeah, going like, "Ah," not making any sense now.
No,
But
yeah.
it is finding how you want to live your life and what makes you happy, and
Mm,
it's generally simple stuff. It's
mm.
not,
It is.
it's not I remember back in the day when I started this, and people were like, I've come really important things to do, and I save the world and all these sort of things. And I'm like, you're important. What
Mm,
is it that you want? And it's like, I want peace,
mm,
I don't want. And what people find, because if there's the whole journey is getting the mental mind and the heart to align.
yeah.
So there's no fights. There's no, the heart feels this way. You align with yourself. Because if you don't align with yourself, then that causes division on the outside of you. You'll
Mm,
create that on the outside. So the people that, in the religion or politics, it's not natural for us to believe in that. So they're going against their heart because
mm,
it's not natural to the collective.
yeah.
So they're in a fight with themselves, even though they're in it to create peace. Religion is here to create peace, and politics is here to create peace. But in fact, just believing in any of them creates war, within oneself. So if
Yeah.
you're doing that within oneself, and then you've got millions of people doing it, then it's a huge division within the collective, within the human race.
Mm, yeah. Oh, you froze. Oh, you're
Yeah,
back.
Rose.
Phew. Yeah, but and that is the thing. And I feel like, that everything just leads to that way is coming back to ourselves. Anything that's division, anything like fear, or anything that causes that to separate from yourself. And I think we're at a time where we're removing all the layers that aren't serving us, and taking those off, and allowing and calling back the bits that we once lost. I guess, like as well. Do you feel that too?
Yeah, I think those bits naturally come up, don't they? They
Mm,
naturally arise up. So when your mental mind, and I mean, I say like religion or politics, but the big one that affects everybody is like beliefs about oneself, not liking oneself, not worth, lack of
y-
self-worth, the
yes.
negative thoughts that people have in their head that like, you don't deserve this, and you deserve to be in a lower vibration, all these sort of things. these are the big things that people have to, because that is actually not, you're a being of light, and you're here to be happy and embrace your life and live your life. So it's those things that need to be challenged within us. And when the mental mind sort of gives up, oh, I'll stop abusing myself, or stop, and finding out why.
Mm,
I found is like the core of it. Where did it start in childhood, and going to that and healing the pain of that? Because the mind, either abuse comes in and we copy that abuse to oneself, or we have protective measures which stops the light coming in and shining out.
mm,
And it's breaking down the protections in us, and also acknowledging to us when we're not being very nice, and why is that, and where did we learn that from, and breaking that cycle.
yes.
So and then from that, the heart can come in more, because it's got a mind that it's accepting of its own light. So more light can come through, and more vitality for your body. There's less illnesses. So but the journey is tough. It's not an easy journey.
Yeah.
It's felt like a full-time job. I don't know if it's felt
Yeah.
like that for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
bloody oath. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a walk in the park, is it? But I mean, and you can choose not to do it, but if you then I guess we wouldn't be having this conversation then, but like to me, it's the most powerful thing that we can do. And that's what and it's like you said as well, like that the abuse that you would be saying to yourself, like that's huge. It's the
Yeah.
self-talk. Like that's a lot of the stuff that I do is reprogramming that stuff is because we've learnt it somewhere along the line. And if we have to constantly like like we build a muscle in the gym, we've got to keep working at it and changing those thought patterns and those things that, they're really just like not serving us. So, and we're creators, so why not create something better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like healing what's been done, or what's come down the family line,
Mm,
yeah, and then overturning it, and got the power to do that. Yeah.
mm.
So it's
Yeah,
all, yeah, returning to self-love, loving oneself.
yeah. We just need to
Yeah.
do like a big love heart. And like, but it's not
Yeah.
in that fluffy way. That's the thing. It's like it's love with guts, isn't it? Love with passion, love
Yeah.
with like all of that stuff.
Oh God, if I look at my journey, the power of the heart, the power of, you don't want to. It's like a mummy bear, that, like that energy. It's very powerful.
Mm,
It's not fluffiness. It's truth, and truth is hard to, it can be hard for the mind to swallow.
mm,
And you think of the heart, the feminine consciousness, and how they've suppressed it, like it's nothing, like it's reduced it and limited it, and limited the human race, because female consciousness is not just females, but obviously we stand. If you've got a woman that stands, she'll stand in her feminine consciousness, but it's all part of everything. um the rise of the feminine, and that's of truth, it's of beauty, it's creativity, it's of great changes. And the masculine has to surrender to that. It's like creating a whole new world. It has to, like, the fear of change. That's what part of the masculine side, because it's like the mental side has created things mainly to protect oneself. It's there to design to protect the feminine.
mm,
So it's not done it for the protections that need to come down. They were there for a reason at one point. So it's
mm,
finding that, like, the mind has to understand why was this created? I've created this for a reason. I'm not just going to take it away. If you create your front door for a reason so people can't get in and there's protection, and then someone goes, no, I want all that down now. It's like, well, actually, that was there for a reason. We need to figure that out. Because people just it will just come back up again. It's like, no. So, yeah, really understanding why things are there, because things we carry may not even be ourselves. It may actually just be learnt behavior from mum and dad, and then just handing that back and like, thanks for the lesson, but I know a different way. And that's part of, yeah, our evolution.
mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of evolution, your new book is now out.
Yay.
Uh,
Yeah.
Do you want to tell people a bit about it? Because so I know that you can buy the physical copy in the UK. I've bought the PDF version because I can't. I'd love a printed copy, but yeah, I've got the PDF so that I've started reading it. Oh,
Yeah, it's I started. It's been on my shoulders for about a good year or so, and then because I knew it was going to be very difficult to write, and so I kind of dragged my feet on it, and then it was actually a friend contacted me. She didn't even know I was going to write a book. She was like, "Becky, I was thinking you've got to write your book. You've got to write your story." So, and I was like, yeah, I've got to do this. And then I did it. It took about 3 months. And then it was really difficult, actually very healing. You never believe that you've done all your healing work because it always throws you in the face and there's always more to go. But it did feel like I had the last of the healing to do. That's what it felt in from my childhood, what happened in my childhood.
mhm,
So, part of me understanding myself and looking at myself is also understanding what happened to me as a child, why the protections that I had up, why I wasn't able to express so easily. It was like, pulling teeth out. I wasn't able to express my emotions. So I found it very dangerous. I was very careful in what I said. I had lots of fears and anxieties that I couldn't explain. I had this horrible fear that I was this horrible dark person.
mm,
And then I started getting attacked by a black magician, and through the attacks, and these were attacks. I wasn't, awake to attacks. I didn't know how attacks work. I didn't, I wasn't, even though I was awake and I did Dolores Cannon thing. I didn't know black magicians existed. Someone said, "Oh,
mm,
that's a sci-fi fantasy," Um, and anyway, so the whole family were being attacked. And it wasn't just me. I was having these beings in my house and these black smoky beings in my home and terrorizing us at night. So we couldn't sleep. And it's like, where do you go? Do you know what I mean? Like, where do you go? It's like Ghostbusters. Who do you call? Kind of
yeah.
thing. Instead of sounding like a crazy person, I've got these beings in my house that are not letting us sleep, and they're not physical, but they're terrorizing me and my children, husband. So it was, and then discovering that it was actually linked to a black magician,
Mm,
and then the attacks got worse, but then just so it was my journey on that, and then part of my journey was actually recalling events from my childhood. So I'd been programmed as a child. Now, I had no idea, nothing. Like, someone had told me I'd been programmed, and I laughed in their face.
mm,
There's no way. There's no way. Like, and I didn't know. Like, I was like, my parents programmed me. This is so, like,
mm,
no. Like, it sent me in a spiral because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have a memory. And
z-
someone had told me, and it's basically when they get a child and they do so much abuse on that child, their heart flies off, and it disconnects them from themselves. And then
mm,
over time, they can mold that person to be what they want them to be. It's a horrendous practice that the
mm,
elite do. And so anyway, this happened, and then obviously I didn't have any memories. But then about roughly a year and a half to 2 years later, I got my first memory, and it was of my childhood best friend's dad was basically drowning me in a bucket of water.
mm,
And I could, when the memory came back, I could, obviously I felt everything, had to go through the whole experience again.
mm,
But it was like a link to the jigsaw puzzle. And then other links like, oh my God, yeah, he was a Freemason. He invited, when I got married, we went round for dinner, lunch, and he invited my husband to become a Freemason. And I didn't know what Freemason was at the time. I was just like, oh, it's a man's club. They talk about politics or something boring. And so little things started to connect. And then obviously over years, these more memories came back. And that's the book, and how how, in the programming, it was all set up by the royal family.
Mm.
So it was like the interactions with the royal family along the way to, and then trying to find out why, like at the end of finding out why, and then becoming free from that. So it was like gaining my memories back. But they didn't want that. So I've been attacked enormously through my adult life.
Mm.
Um, but I realized through the attacks that they could only attack me on the frequencies that I had within. And this is why they attacked me as a child, to keep hold of me. So I didn't do anything they didn't want me to do as an adult. So every time back in the day, I don't know, like years ago, I used to release blogs.
Mm.
And every time I released a blog, I'd get attacked within hours, like attacked. Like my blog didn't reach a lot of people, probably 100 people, 200 people read my blogs. And I'm like, well, these are not even, why am I being attacked? Like something so small. But I was attached to the satanic system that
Mm.
was attached when I was a kid. And they did that. So I was like a black fly in a web. So anytime I did something that they didn't like, it was bang, we're going to hit you. So it's my story out of the web, and what this web actually is. We were all affected. We've been all affected by this satanic web when we haven't been able to see it because we've been so in it,
Mm.
and so it's my story out of it and what I learned through it. So yeah, but yeah, no, this is the book. Yeah,
Yeehaw.
just one footprints.
One set of footprints. Yes.
Set of footprints. So you can download it, which is so much cheaper. So much, it's like ridiculous. Yeah, it's so much cheaper to download it on my Patreon site, but you don't have to be a patron. You can just go and download it, and but you can buy the copy. But it is obviously, I mean, if you're in England, it's fine. But if you're in
Mm.
Australia, the prices are ridiculous to get it over to you guys. It's really expensive. Yeah. And you have to wait. I don't know how long you would have to wait, but you would have to wait a bit.
Yeah. So if you're like me and you don't want to wait, just order it from your Patreon site and just like then you get it and it's there already. So that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a cool book, and it's such a cool story. And although I haven't finished reading it yet, like I just know how powerful, and I can only imagine how healing it would be, because like you said, like these sort of things, when we write them out, even though we've done so much work, there's still always that little bit more to kind of work through and process, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah. And when I wrote the book, because like so much trauma has happened in my life that I've had to heal.
Mm.
Um, it's like I was basically hunted as a child and then as an adult by these Satanists,
Mm.
basically. So it's going through that again and reliving that by writing it. But also when I wrote it, I was able to become more like connect more dots as well and become more conscious of things that I hadn't connected before. So it was very healing. But I remember like my skin erupted and it was really difficult. It was really emotional and heavy, but it's a happy ending. It's a happy ending.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. But I mean, there's a lot there, isn't there? Do you feel like with that you would still have more memories come up even now, or do you feel like you've got what you needed to have? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's like the book was kind of like that's it now, that like
Mm.
um I've got what I needed to know. It's like a chapter closed. So
Mm.
even though and it's like onto the, you know, it's like yeah, I don't feel I know like why and um what happened and the reasons it happened, and also, I'm free from it. So it's like I don't feel the need to I don't have any need to like want to discover.
Yeah.
um yeah, it's done. It
It's
was like when I done the book, it was like it's over, it's
yes.
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been a really, really long journey. I don't know how many years. I think my little girl was 1, I think.
Oh, wow.
Maybe no, maybe she was 1 or 2 when I got my first memory, and she's 10 now.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been many years
Mm.
to understand, Um, so and also that's it's helped me understand how important one story is. And that's why when people come to help, when people come for help, their story and what's happened to them, what they're manifesting now, generally links back to childhood and what happened as a child, and their programming as a child, and the feelings and all those things that have been suppressed as a child is generally what is taking place now. That that we're creating the reality to help us heal ourselves, but we don't realize that. We could just be like, we're creating more shit in our lives to get over. And if we start to realize, actually, this is because of stuff that's stuck in my childhood that I need to release. So instead of seeing the world as like, a disempowering, dangerous place to live, or, scared of your own creation, you're actually seeing it a way of empowering yourself and coming out of victim energies and knowing yourself. It completely changes the way you look at reality. Not to be scared of it, because going through the attacks, and I'd be like, oh my God, if I had a normal childhood, I wouldn't be going through this now. It's like, why is this so difficult? Like, I haven't done anything wrong. That's like, why is this happening to me? But now, looking back, it was like, well, it triggered me to understand so much of myself, and also to connect more with myself, because I couldn't trust anything on the outside of me. So I had to fully connect to my heart. I had to fully believe in myself, and like the want to live and understand. And that's all I had. I only had me, it was like that. So it was, even though they did their best to bring me down, me holding on to my heart, they couldn't compete with that. My heart led me through it. It's like, you're going to be okay. You just keep going, keep going, keep going. Because there were the attacks, like looking now, even though they were like horrible, the system in itself is very powerless, because once knowledge comes in and understanding of self, I remember getting really attacked, but it was by AI. And I'm like, consciousness created AI. Therefore, I am more powerful than the AI, the technology they're using on me. I'm way more powerful than that, because I am consciousness. Therefore, it's a weak in itself. And the beings, the reptilians, they have very little consciousness. So it's like realizing that consciousness, heart, human race is way more powerful than anything. And me individually understanding that, then I see a human, us, like I'm one person. It's like, wow, the power that we're connected to, the power of who we are is incredible. Absolutely incredible. So people to realize that, it's like, you won't be frightened of anything. Anything that comes up.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I could not agree more. I mean, we are so powerful. I say it all the time. And for us to realize it, like, you don't realize it in 5 minutes. You go through a journey, and that's how you remember who you are and how powerful you are. And we really are. Like, we're all just warrior men and women. Like, we truly are, being here and have gone for what we've gone through. Like, we really are, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, and then one day we won't have to. There'll be no warrior energy needed. It's just peace and living, and yeah. You do need some good courage to come to Earth at this time. You need to be really, you do.
Yeah, we're courageous beings. Bloody hell. Oh my gosh. I have loved talking to you. I'm just trying to look at the time. I could listen to you all day though, because I just love everything that you share. So just before we sort of wrap up, is there anything on your heart, speaking of heart, that you want to share before we do wrap up?
Oh, is there anything on my heart? I just thank you for having me on the show. It's really kind. I don't do interviews. I was a little bit nervous, so sorry if the nerves came through. And thank you for being so kind. Thank you for being so kind to me, just thank you, and thank you for any people that listen. I always get a bit nervous, even on Q&As. I always get a little bit nervous because I never know what's going to be asked. So I'm just like, and so yeah, it's just the way it is, I suppose. I suppose it's nerves and a bit excitement.
Yeah.
But yeah. Do
We
you get a
gotta
bit
have
nervous?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
about to start. I'm like, okay, just deep breathe. It's a mix. It's a mix of nerves and excitement because I think, yeah, because you
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen or anything, but I'm usually pretty excited. But yeah, it's that, whew, and then you settle into it, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a Q&A tonight, so I do enjoy it. It does lift everything. So yeah, we do I do question and answer sessions, so remote view, and I do that every 2 weeks. So if people want to join, you come and ask me a question, and I'll go and have a look and help you understand it. And it ranges from politics to, well, rarely, but politics to what's going on in the world, basically, dark
Mm.
world, to consciousness and how powerful, and what's going on with Mother Earth, to the universe, and collectively. So it's really, people generally go out in a much better frequency. So it's really positive.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll keep putting videos up on YouTube as well.
Yes. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say that. So for people who might not be in the Patreon yet, but they want to check it out, some of the stuff you do, like your YouTube page has got so many things, and sometimes your videos are inspired by what's happened in the Q&A, and so then you do a video on
Yeah.
it, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so so you can go and check that out. And I've got, like, if you go to my website, that's got, my blogs and everything like that, and obviously you can read my story. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's one set of footprints.
Yes.
So yeah.
Oh, and what is your website for people who are listening and not watching? Because I'll pop it up on screen, but is it Find the Light?
Yeah, findthelight-rb.com.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
So while I just want to thank you again, and while I'm thanking you as well, I just want to thank you at home for tuning in to this epic chin wag with the amazing Rebecca. I've absolutely loved it. I hope you've loved it too, mate. It's just been so good connecting. So as always, leave a comment, share, subscribe, give it a rating. Always love hearing from you, and so appreciate you being here as well. But Rebecca, just thanks again. I'll put all your links in the description so everyone can just get the book, check out the Patreon, check out your YouTube, check out your website. And yeah, just thank you for being you.
Same to you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, thanks, mate.